from it, so that she won't be
Well,
disillusioned.
she's young. She can afford to lose 2 hours of her life. But you and I don't know.
Yeah, we're getting to the point. We got to be careful how we spend those precious hours. I also really love the fact that the way that you structure your hierarchy within Hollywood that places Dean and Sam from Supernatural at the very top. I admire that point of view. Thank you so much. Although
My
I'm sure
favorite
there's
is
more
Bobby, though. I wish they had kept Bobby on there longer, but I'm glad to see that he's on Gen V and that he was in The Boys, because Kripke also is behind Gen V and The Boys, and that is some good television if you want to watch something good.
That's very cool. That is a program that about what? I think 8 to 10 years ago, my daughter was very, very into. She had
Seth Rogen and a couple of other people got together. It's making fun of superheroes, and so
The Boys,
these are superheroes, The Boys, that would probably be real, because we're all assholes, let's be honest. So
sure, yeah,
if we had superpowers, we would just be superpowered assholes.
Yes, exactly. And periodically you would have to take one of those assholes and put them in jail to show that they couldn't just be assholes, because with great power comes great responsibility. And if you don't take that responsibility onto yourself, you're abusing it, and society must needs control that. And whether we're talking about superheroes or billionaires, I think the same principle applies.
Unless you know somebody who can do a spell and make everybody forget about you. But I don't know anybody like that.
Not yet, but who knows? With all this AI technology, you never know what's going to happen. So far, I think the main thing has just been to come up with a whole bunch of weird looking pictures online. For Halloween, I was always into old retro stuff, and I used to watch old movies and TV shows with my dad, and I was really into like Perry Mason. And so what I did was I created for my my Facebook avatar a picture of Raymond Burr eating Halloween candy, and it was just so weird and creepy looking that I felt that I had to use it. I don't have it up there any longer, but it was a very kind of like maniacal, almost demonic looking Raymond Burr from the Perry Mason series eating Halloween candy. And so if that sort of thing is possible, then perhaps we can find a way to ablate memory and maybe make things better in some small way in the United States of America, and indeed the rest of the world. Susanne Posel, this week again, these are, I assume, some of the things that you're going to be talking about this coming week on the show. What else can we look forward to?
Of course, I want to go over. I would love to stop talking about the need to care about Palestinians, but Israel keeps doing stuff like bombing an entire caravan of trucks filled with water, because apparently Hamas is able to shrink down to the molecule size and hide in between the two hydrogen molecules.
It's aqua Hamas.
It's Aquamas.
It's so fucking ridiculous. It's just we laugh, but it's just so horrible. They don't care. They're just bombing shit, and they want to get as many people out of there because they want the land. They want Gaza. They don't want Palestine.
Us to see. They want us to see that Palestinians are Hamas, and there is no differential. But the problem with that is, like there were, like one of Brian Mast, who is a Republican, said, there's no differential, and you wouldn't call Nazi. But
yeah, by the way, there is another guy who should be censured because he is wearing the uniform of a foreign country.
Oh yeah,
he'd absolutely be censured. He's putting on an Israeli uniform, and he's serving in the IDF over there. That should be censured.
But my point is, like, who hid Anne Frank. They were Germans. Not every
Yeah.
German was part of the Nazi
Yeah.
regime, and
Yeah.
not every Palestinian, all 2.2 million who used to be 2.2 million, were
Yeah.
part of the 30,000 strong members of Hamas, because math doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but
And the
also,
times that we were bombing, Germans, like in like, for example, in Dresden in World War II, where there was no real military target, that's looked on, like, frankly, even though, I mean, we won and it wasn't like technically considered a war crime, has been, looked on as one of the great atrocities of history. And yet apparently we haven't learned from that, because we're willing
no,
to
because
fund
then
those
we
atrocities.
went and bought, we took what Japan did
Yeah.
in Pearl Harbor and carpet bombed them. So
Yeah.
no, we haven't learned, but the fact is, like, two wrongs don't make a right. I know that in the right wing media, it makes sense that if you do something wrong, I can do it, because that's how
Yeah.
criminal. But
It's an
in
eye for an eye media.
exactly, but it doesn't mean that because he got away with it that you can get away with it. No, it means that we did something wrong and we should probably go back and take a look at that guy. But for now, we're looking at what you did. It's the same thing like my two kids do when something is broken, or I used to do with my mother and my brother used to do it.
Mhm.
Something's broken, you don't know who did it. So you have to punish both of them until somebody owns up to it.
Yeah.
And that's how our law works. The law is the same for everybody. Murder is murder, manslaughter is manslaughter. We have degrees of it because we understand shit happens, but it's still murder, it's still manslaughter.
Yeah.
And
But yeah, and yet somehow there's this magical thing where, because they're like, if the word terrorists is out there, all bets are off. That's okay. If you invoke that word, and you can apply it to an entire population, then not only murder but mass murder is entirely acceptable.
that's why using the human shields and the 4,000 plus kids who were murdered because apparently Hamas is hiding behind them too. That's why the caravan of water being exploded by Israeli missiles blows it out of the water, pun intended, because where was Hamas? Maybe a couple of them were hiding under the trucks, but maybe like what, six of them? Were they? It's
That's where all the
ridiculous.
Hamas guys are. They're just traveling to and from places in Gaza, hiding under water trucks. Yeah, that's how they get around, right?
Yeah, Nestle is in on it, and so is Gatorade and Coca-Cola with their Dasani. They're transporting Hamas everywhere to the southern border. So if you can't bring now Dasani or Gatorade or any water across the border because you could have Hamas in it. And if you ingest Hamas, we don't have a vaccine for you. So
It's molecular Hamas. I know.
plus, Robert Kennedy would be against it vaccinating against Hamas anyway, which wrap your brain around that one.
I have not been able to wrap my brain around Robert Kennedy in any way, shape, or form. Yeah, in fact, the main thing that came out of that for me is, all right, he's crazy, but like, what did make me sad is the fact that Dennis Kucinich for a while was his campaign manager. I hope he's able to redeem himself. I really did once think highly of him, and now I don't so much. I hope he can get back on track. But Robert F. Kennedy Jr., I don't know. He's beyond redemption for me. But we shall
What
see.
it proves to me is that DNA erodes over time. You know, just because your brother was great
Yes.
doesn't mean your third cousin twice removed is going to be awesome.
I know. Like at a certain point, Kennedy like stops meaning anything, and like you just like get down it's sort of like eventually like they'll have a Kennedy equivalent of the Habsburg chin or something like that. I mean, it'll like inbreeding eventually takes its toll, whether it comes out of Hyannis or Pascagoula. It really doesn't matter. Susanne Posel, this week again, please check it out on every podcast platform that you have, because she's just about everywhere. You can search on Spotify and iHeart and Apple Podcasts and all sorts of other good places. Please listen. It is an excellent review of the week. If you don't have time to listen to silly midweek stuff because, you're working. I understand. So Sundays, check out her podcast this week again. Susanne Posel, thank you so much for being with us today on Facepalm America.
Oh, it was awesome. It's always fun talking to you.
Thank you so much. I want to thank Ace Elson and Rosabelle Hine, who are the producers of this program. They do a superlative job on every episode. I want to urge you to share this episode with a friend. Let them know about it. And rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever else you can do that. It helps us grow the program. And until next time, enjoy the day.